All right, welcome to the BBall Index Leaderboard tool. This is an app I designed to help decision makers and fans compare players, um, especially when the users may not be as analytically advanced. They can still compare players using more advanced techniques. Um, so we have a bunch of ways to evaluate players. Our main ways are LeBron, which is just like a player's impact. O LeBron offensive, D LeBron is defensive, and then LeBron War is that impact, but translated to wins above replacement. So we have a whole bunch of different metrics you can look at: opportunity and usage, kind of metrics, position and role, biographical data. Here's 3-point shooting data. We have a bunch of filters that you can use to look at those players. So if you hit run query, you get filtered by whatever your first metric is. This is a data table. We have a data table column biz button. So if let's say you're not interested in looking at that stuff, then you can just look at that. We have a whole bunch of filters to filter on height and weight, age, their experience, what team they're on, what position they play, what kind of offensive role or defensive role they fit in. We also have some custom metrics. This is kind of cool. So if you want to see I'm only interested in players that have played at least 60 games, and we'll filter on last year. Let's say I'm only want to look at rookies. Let's see who those players are who have had the most value. So we think Herb Jones would be the best player. And then we have a little screenshot button, so you can screenshot this and share it. Next, we go to the year-over-year tool. So we have the same four metrics. What's kind of cool with the year-over-year tool is that we can click on players and over here, and it will auto-populate in the year-over-year tool. So I'm just going to click on some players, and they should show up right here. And then let's get rid of that one, I guess. And so this is all going to be in ggplot, what I've done here. We have the same kind of filtering, ways to filter. So you can see across seasons kind of how these guys compare. So it looks like Harden was super valuable in 2014 and then maybe not as valuable in recent years. They've kind of had the rise of Giannis and Jokic. If that's kind of for different monitor sizes, I've played around with this so that you can actually change the height dynamically for whatever you're interested in. And that's kind of a function of we want people to use this on social media so they can change it however they like to get the dimensions they want and then take a screenshot so that they can share it. Risers and fallers, similar to the leaderboards tab, but just shows kind of a year over year who has the greatest fall or rise in any given metric. The player comparison tab, it auto-populates with some random names, but I'm going to remove them and select like a couple of guys here. When we come back here, I can choose what metrics I'm interested in comparing. So we have a whole bunch of metrics for all these guys. And then let's say I just want like a really like an overview, summary data of these three players' skills in these seasons. And I can see, LeBron James 2018, very good in these metrics. Who's this? Damian Lillard 2019, not so good at screening and rolling. Makes sense. We can also look at grades. If that's more your thing, or like a quick view would just give kind of like the 5 or so stats that we think are important for whatever like facet of the game you're interested in. So, or if you want everything we've got to have to do with one metric group, then you can click on the full data and kind of see that. So let's say I was interested in like a blind comparison. I could hit hide names. And I could kind of objectively look at this and say, okay, well, who do I think, based on the data, who do I think out of this group is the best finisher? And I'd probably say it's player A or C, right? And so then I reveal the names, it's LeBron James or Giannis. So that looks great. These grades are compared against the peer group. So if I were to filter down, let's say I wanted to compare these guys only against bigs. So I want to see how's their finishing against players that are bigs. So you can see right now it's compared against 5,100 players. That's everyone in our database. But if I pare this down a little bit, then their grades are going to be a little bit worse because bigs are generally better at finishing. And so then we're only comparing to 1582 who fit into the archetypes and roles that we've presented here. And we also have a player profile tab, similar to the player comparison, but you can dive a little bit deeper into just one single player. So yeah, I hope you have fun playing around with the app. I'm very much open to feedback or ideas on ways to make the app better. So just, hit me up at NateHawk2 is my Twitter handle, or you can communicate with us through the website. If you find any cool insights while you're playing around, I'd love to see it. If you screenshot it and send it to me or post it on Twitter or whatever. And also, last thing, BBall Index is looking for Shiny developers. So if you're interested in making cool apps like this and passionate about basketball, then get in contact with me and let's talk. Have fun.